It is important to understand the role that creeks and streams play in our rivers. For starters, creeks and streams are the headwaters of our rivers. Creeks and streams serve as the headwaters for our rivers, the source of where the rivers come from, the tributaries. These streams and creeks will eventually meet up with rivers. This creek before you, Rottenwood Creek, it leads to the Chattahoochee River. And that is the Chattahoochee River. Whatever flows through this creek will eventually meet the Chattahoochee River. Whatever passes through creeks and streams will eventually make it to the rivers. And whatever makes it to these rivers will eventually make it to the end of those rivers. Usually a large lake, or in most cases the ocean. Think about your beaches. Think about all the sediments that go into the creeks and streams and eventually the rivers. And think about where your beaches come from. You have the sediments that are carried by the river, and they eventually deposit towards the shore. Deposit on the shore, and that's how your beaches are formed. Look at this here. These sediments here, you see the sand here on the bottom of this river. You see some of the rocks here, some of this is quartz. The Chattahoochee River ends at the state of Florida and empties into the Gulf of Mexico. And a lot of beaches are formed because of stuff like this sand being carried from the creeks and the rivers all the way to the ocean. You must also consider that if you litter or if you dump things into sewers or like poisonous chemicals, it's going to find its way to a creek and then a river and then the ocean. Whenever you have poisonous chemicals being dumped into sewers or if you litter, remember that stuff will make its way to a creek or a stream and eventually make its way to a river, and it'll eventually make its way to an ocean. It's important to understand that when you have problems with pollution in the oceans, it doesn't start only with just dumping stuff in the ocean. In many cases, this stuff starts with what happens in the headwaters. It starts further upstream. It's as simple as dumping something in the sewer or littering. That stuff is eventually going to find its way to an ocean. And that's something to understand when you decide, when you really think about littering or dumping something in the water. Really think about it. Consider that it's eventually going to make its way to the ocean. Be sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And a shout out to Atlas Schmatlis, who is one of my Patreons. He is pledging $3 a month to the Geo Scholar. And one more thing. Get out there. Explore. See what you can find in your environment.